In this tutorial, you will learn about quizzes in D2L. Navigate to the Quizzes area by clicking on the Quizzes link from the Assessment drop-down menu in the course navigation bar. Here, we can create quizzes for students to complete online through D2L. The quiz feature allows you to build different types of quiz questions, such as multiple choice, true-false, fill-in-the-blank, matching, and short and long answer questions. To create a quiz, click on the New Quiz button. In the name field, type the title of the quiz. It's generally a good idea to name the quiz using the topic, chapter, or unit it correlates to. For example, Chapter 1 quiz. If we're developing several quizzes, we may want to organize our quizzes in a category. To do so, select the category name from the drop-down menu. Or you can create a new category by clicking on the Add Category link next to the drop-down menu. Identify the grade item the quiz is associated with in the D2L gradebook. This will require that we already have a grade item set up in the gradebook. But if we don't have one developed already, we can add the grade item using the Add Grade Item link to create a new one. In this case, our grade item is already developed, Chapter 1 quiz. If we use questions in this quiz that can be graded by the system, such as multiple choice, fill-in-the-blank, or true-false question types, we can set the quiz to be graded immediately upon completion. If we want those quiz scores to be sent immediately to the gradebook in D2L, we can also select Automatic Export to Grades. Remember that in order to do this, we must have the quiz connected to a specific grade item in our gradebook. With these settings, we now have less work to do on our end, as we don't have to grade the quiz or record the grade item in our gradebook. If we're using a long answer question type in the quiz, however, we'll have to grade these items manually. Let's scroll down to select the desired settings for Optional Advanced Properties. Click on the Expand Optional Advanced Properties link. For quizzes, it is recommended that you select both the Disable Right-Click and Disable Pager and Alerts options to minimize distractions for students while taking the quiz and to increase test security. Let's scroll back to the top of the page and click on the Restrictions tab. Here, we need to set additional options for the quiz. First, in order for students to take the quiz, it must be set to Active under the Status heading. While we can leave this quiz as inactive if we are developing questions, remember it will not be available to students if the status is not changed. On the Restrictions tab, we can also set quiz availability dates. So we can choose for students to access the quiz during specific date and time ranges if desired. Let's set the start date to Friday at noon. And we'll set the end date for the following Friday. Let's mark the box next to Display in Calendar to provide an extra reminder to our students that they'll need to complete this quiz. We can only select the Display in Calendar option if the quiz is set to Active. If we scroll down, we can set the specific time limit we want for students to complete the quiz. Because this is a short quiz, 15 minutes should be more than enough for students, so we'll change that time here. Now, we must checkmark the box next to Enforced for this time limit to actually apply. If we fail to mark this box, our students will have unlimited time to complete the quiz. You should be aware that once students enter a quiz and the quiz page completely loads, their time begins. So if a student enters this quiz, then immediately exits the quiz and returns 10 minutes later, they will have only 5 minutes remaining to finish the quiz. Students should be encouraged to finish and submit their quiz once they start it. The grace period is the amount of time you allow before the quiz is considered late. I'm not a big fan of late submissions, so let's put 1 minute in this field, which is the minimum time we can provide for students to submit the quiz late. Now we have 3 options under the late submissions heading. Normal submission allows for students to submit the quiz at any time, regardless of the time limit we enforced, and points are not deducted if the student submits the quiz late. The late limit option allows students to submit their quiz after the time limit. However, if they exceed a certain number of minutes you have allowed for late submissions, the quiz will automatically be graded as a 0. This, of course, can be changed by us manually if we want them to receive points. We recommend you use the Auto Submit option. This setting forces students to submit the quiz after their time limit and grace period have expired. Students cannot perform any other action within the quiz except to submit it. For our current settings, this means that after 15 minutes is up and the 1-minute grace period has expired, the quiz will lock up and prompt students to submit. Let's scroll up the page and move on to the Attempts tab. In this area, we will identify how many times students are allowed to complete the quiz and how their grade will be calculated. If we want to allow only 1 attempt, maintain the default setting at 1. If we want to provide students with more than 1 attempt, we can change the number using this drop-down menu. Beneath the overall grade calculation heading, we can identify which quiz attempt will be graded if our students are allowed to take more than 1 attempt. We can choose from highest attempt, lowest attempt, an average of all attempts, the first attempt, or the last attempt to be scored. Now that we have set up some basics of the quiz, let's add in a quiz question. To create a question for your quiz, click on the Layout/Questions tab. Click the Add Edit Questions button. Now, click on the new drop-down menu and select the type of question you want to create. We'll select Multiple Choice Question. In the Points field, type the point value you want the question to be worth. We'll leave this as the default setting of 1 point. Then type the quiz question in the question text box. In this case, what species of goats climb trees? Just for fun, let's add an image here. We'll click the Add a File button. We'll locate our image on our computer. You didn't think I was serious about this question, did you? There's proof right here goats actually do climb trees. Let's drag and drop the picture into the drag and drop field. Click the Done button. And our picture is now uploaded to the quiz question. Next, scroll down your screen and type in the responses you want students to select from in the value fields. 1 response per box. While there are 4 answer fields by default, if we only have 3 answer choices for students to select from, we can delete 1 field by clicking on the trash can icon next to the 4th answer field beneath the Remove column. Okay. If we need to add in an additional answer field, we'll just click the Add Options link right here. To finish developing this question, we need to type in 100 next to the correct multiple choice answer in the weight column. In this case, the correct answer is Tamri goats, which are actually a species of goats from Morocco, and they really do climb trees. We'll type in 100 right here. The remaining answers should maintain a 0 in the weight column. This indicates that if the students select the correct answer, Tamri goats, they will receive 100% of the points for this question, whereas if they select an incorrect answer, pygmy or dairy goats, they will receive 0 points. To preview what the question looks like to students, click on the Preview button. And here's what our students will see when they're taking the question. Here's how you will see the question when it's graded. Go ahead and click the Done button. Now, let's save the question by scrolling down the web page and clicking on the Save button. We're back to our main list of quiz questions. We can continue creating multiple choice questions or develop a mixture of question types in our quiz using the new drop-down menu and selecting the desired type. When we have finished creating all of our quiz questions, we'll click the Done button on the top right-hand side of our page. Let's save this quiz as a whole by clicking on the Save and Close button. Now we can see we have the Chapter 1 quiz in the Quizzes area. This quiz begins on December 14th at 12 p.m. and ends a week later on the 21st at 12 p.m. This concludes the quizzes tutorial. In this tutorial, you learned how to create a new quiz, set quiz properties, submission views and options, and restrictions, as well as how to create quiz questions. For additional quiz details, view the full D2L user guides.